Hi, what's up? It's Jacob, the Chess Lollipop, and what you can see right now on a chessboard is a Svesnikov Variation in Sicilian Defence. If you followed World Championship Match between Magnus Carlsen and Fabiano Caruana, maybe you are familiar with this opening, because Magnus chose it as a weapon against Fabiano. And in today's video I will tell you if this opening is worth playing, for whom it is, for whom it isn't, and some more interesting informations. So let's crack into it. Let's start in this position. So now black plays e5, and usually in opening Sicilian, black plays d6 right here, e6 or g6. So they slowly develop their position, don't play too aggressively, and then counter attack. In Sicilian Defense, black plays e5 right away, and let me show you how it's from the beginning. It's e4, c5, knight f3, knight c6, d4, cd, knight d4. It's open Sicilian, knight f6, knight c3, and e5. So that's a very aggressive move right now. It's also a little bit counterintuitive, because now after knight b5 there is a threat of jumping on d6, so we have to play d6 ourselves. And now you can see here is a very weak pawn, because white has open file to attack it, and also here is knight. Here white has several options. Caruana played knight d5, which is somewhat trending recently, but the most principal and classic line is bishop g5. White plays bishop g5 because they want to take control of d5 square, which is very strong square for white right here. If you watched my video about the game Alekhine versus Yates, that's my first video on the channel, you will know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about a strong square for knight right here. So bishop g5, a6 and b5. So here's some compensation for this weakness. Now black develops some kind of initiative, because there is a threat of b4, and also this knight is out of play for a moment. It's on the side and it can't enter center for a moment at least. White plays knight d5, which is obligatory right now because there was b4, a threat of b4. Bishop e7 takes, and yeah, white takes with bishop because they want to have this strong knight on d5. And Svesnikov Variation in Sicilian Defense is not an opening for beginner players, because you are breaking a few strategic positional rules and principles. For example, you let yourself have such weakness here, and you need some experience to distinguish why in this position you can do something like that. Also, it's a recommended thing to study this opening with some stronger player, with your colleague, friend or a coach who played it himself. Yeah, I know I'm advertising myself right now, but that's how it is. Really, I think this opening should be explained this opening by someone else very well, because there are not so much openings that goes in the same manner like this. All right, c3. White wants to send knight to the center. Castle, knight c2, bishop g5, a4, and here goes variation. And it's just a beginning of this line, to be honest. If you study this opening and you look for Grandmasters games, the Fury right here is very deep. So that's also an opening for someone not only who likes aggressive and concrete play, but also is able to sit down and memorize a lot of variations, because you have to be very concrete right here, because if you aren't, you can miss a train and get worse position quite fast. For example, here there is a second option. White can take with bishop on f7. Then you take with pawn, and that's also a kind of strange move, because usually you don't take with such pawn, because now you have not only a weakness here but also doubled pawns. But in this madness is a method. And what is a method? That is that right now black has pair of bishop, and very soon black will start going with those pawns and attack white center, and soon these 4 pawns can become a very strong center for black. White plays bishop knight d5, and here you've got 2 options. The most common option is f5, but the modern move, which is also played by Magnus Carlsen right here, is bishop g7. Bishop d3, and now black wants to exchange this knight, and that's also a very common thing in this variation for black, to try to exchange this knight. And when you succeed in exchanging this knight and pawn stands on d5, now you don't have a problem with this pawn. So what white should do is to take here, so there is still an open line to attack this pawn. Now castle, for example c4, you can play c4. By the way, if white plays c3, then you can play f5. You sacrifice a pawn, but you are opening some diagonals for your bishops. Bishops like open positions, and if white are not, say, mindful of what they are doing, now here's a very interesting move, d5, and it's a quite good position for black. Now if white takes on f5, you play e4, bishop goes to e2, then rook d8, and you can see this very strong pawn center for black. Alright, so to summarize this opening, first, it's for sure you have to be aggressive player, you have to be able to navigate through complicated positions, to be able to play concretely, and also if you enjoy attack on your opponent's king, that's a very good opening. Second of all, it's probably not for beginners because it breaks some positional rules, and at the beginning I think you shouldn't play openings which are an exceptions from the rules, because here you are learning how to break rules, and this is a kind of exceptional opening. Third thing is you have to enjoy learning theory, memorizing lines. And also fourth thing is it's a good idea to train it with someone else. Yeah, that's it. So that's a opening that is played by Magnus Carlsen. Many other strong players, including even Kasparov, played it. Vladimir Kramnik. I recommend it for you, but keep in mind what I told you before. Thanks for watching. Also, I encourage you to visit my website. There is a free ebook for you, which will teach you about 11 killers of your progress, which might be killing your progress right now, your chess progress. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment. Maybe you have some questions. Give a thumbs up, and see you next time.